Yeah, Gary, we see Gary Schwartz all the time.
Oh yeah, very good friend of his, yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Oh, he's a great guy. He's actually even older than we are. I know, it's incredible.
And Gary Schwartz, for those of you who don't play TF2, is the voice of the Heavy.
And the Devil Man.
The Heavy Man, that's right. And he does this Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. And Gary Schwartz does a wonderful Arnold Schwarzenegger, but Gary actually is this tall, skinny, bald guy. And he looks kind of like Ed Wynn, but not.
And he runs a theater outside of Seattle.
And if you want to see him act, he plays the bald caveman in the film Quest for Fire that came out in the 80s. And it's kind of a wonderful film because they made up a language for the cavemen to speak, so you don't hear any English or Swedish or anything else in the film. It's just a bunch of cavemen running around. But he plays the bald caveman, and he's now the Heavy. And he's a very nice guy.
Gary Schwartz is a great guy. And he's a wonderful actor, and he's a teacher.
And we work with him all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else? Yeah. Sure.
I don't play any games. I'm not smart enough.
Ellen plays bridge.
I play bridge. Are there any bridge players here? Yeah, okay, yeah, bridge. Yeah.
I have played, I love Half-Life 2. I've played that and the episodes. I played TF2 just a little bit because I can't catch up to it. It just starts going so fast that I'm not sure what's going on. So I kind of have to be better, do the schools more and stuff like that. I've played the Portal games, and of course I'm a Mac guy. So Infamous and Lord of the Rings War in the North and No One Lives Forever, Matrix Online, all those were PC games. So I haven't played, as a matter of fact, it's a very funny story. I did a game called Total Annihilation. Do you guys familiar with that old game from the 90s?
Yeah, and the new Planetary Annihilation.
Yeah, Planetary Annihilation
yeah.
is a sequel that's just come out recently. But we had to take it down to my nephew to let him play it so that I could see what it was like, because he had a PC. And he was about 10 at the time. And so, back then, it's like took an hour and a half to load into his computer and all that kind of stuff. And finally he was ready to go. And he started the game. And I was the narrator. And so the lights go down and my voice comes out, and 4,000 years ago, this galactic war started. And he's just like, escape, 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 escape. And Ellen said, what are you doing that? I wanted to hear that. And this is literally what my nephew did when my wife wanted to hear my acting work on the game that I just gave him. He looked at my wife and he went, and started over and listened to my narration. And when I was through, he said, can I play the game now? Yeah, okay, great. So that's the kind of love I get from my family, so thank you for bringing that up. Yes, over there in the striped shirt, yeah.
Do you have any tips on fixing things to people that want to aspire to be voice actors or entertainers?
Sure. So, study acting. Because John's and my training is in theater acting, and we do a lot of stage work. Nobody really becomes a voice actor. You become an actor. And then through that study, acting is acting. Whether you are seen, or it's just your voice.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like saying I want to be a voice actor is kind of like saying I want to become a race car driver, but I will only drive a Porsche. It's like, it's hard enough to get a job acting. And so voice acting is a great thing to do. I mean, if you're an actor, I always tell my young actor friends, get yourself a voice demo, because that's another income source.
Yeah, and many of our younger colleagues have done that at our advice, and they're doing voice work now.
But that said, I know a lot of people who, John St. John, who's, who is he?
Duke Nukem.
Yeah, Duke Nukem, the voice of Duke Nukem. He was a radio announcer and happened to be hanging around a recording studio, and they asked him to do some work, and that's what got him into it. So, I mean, hanging
But trust me, he's an actor.
Well, yeah, but hanging around recording studios, if you get a job just working in a recording studio, sometimes if you're just the guy who's there, and they know your voice, and you know how to act, you can get in that way. But the straightforward way is to learn how to act, get yourself a voice demo, a professional voice demo, and I would say, here in town, I mean not in town, in Sweden, I would Google Stockholm talent agencies.
Can I ask a follow-up question? A small one.
Sure.
Do you have like any, like acting training can be very expensive for students and young people. Is there like any small practices you can do daily to better your confidence in yourself? Or your
Read books.
Well,
Read Uta Hagen. Read
also,
Stanislavski. Read Stella Adler. William Esper.
But also, yeah, I mean, you can certainly do that and read what other people have to say, what the job of acting is. But really, I think I can sum up the job of acting in a very brief paragraph. The job of acting is the ability to put yourself in another person's place and figure out what they want and why they can't have it. Because just as stories are a problem, acting is about problems. If you don't have something that you want and a reason that you can't have it, you don't have any reason to talk. And ultimately, acting is about having a reason to talk. When I look at a script, the first, I call it going back to zero. When I decide how I'm going to read this script, I say, why would my character talk at all? Why would he say anything? And then, why would he say this particular thing? The writer has put it down there. I have to figure out why this character would say this. Because I could say to her, I love you. Because I just want her to know. But I could also say to her, I love you. Like saying, get out the door. You bore me, right? I mean, any sentence can be read a million different ways, and it depends on what your character wants at the time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was talking to someone else just this morning about acting. You don't have to go to a conservatory or a drama school. You can just take an acting class. Or you can get together with a group of like-minded people and practice reading scripts. Go to the library and get plays. I mean, now you can download everything. Practice reading scripts, and scripts with characters that appeal to you. A character that you feel in common with. You feel you understand the character. So you don't have to have a conservatory education to learn how to act. Because yes, that is expensive, but there are other ways to
and there's another back door.
Work on it.
There's another back door, is if you want to be a voice actor, what you want to do is find friends of yours who say want to make a video game. Find somebody who wants to write code, find an animator, find a writer, and put together a project. Because we know many people who have put games together and put them online for free, and that's how they've ultimately got work at game companies and stuff like that. So that's another way to go. Does that help?
That's all. Thank you.
Great, sure. With the animal on your shoulder standing up in the back? I hope that's an animal. Oh, okay. Hi.
I was thinking, you were talking about books and the scripts earlier on. Do you have any tip for promoting new projects or books that you want to show the world? Here, this book exists.
Right. I mean, I'll repeat what my publisher told me, and then we can talk about whether or not publishers know anything at all. I mean, what they say, the new way to do it is social media, and I mean, you could go my route, which is marry someone who is one of the most famous voice actors in the world and get invited to a lot of fan cons, and you can sell them there. But really, I mean, everybody goes their own way. And Mark Twain wrote his first novel after he had been writing for newspapers for years, and everybody knew his name. Really, the publishing business is about who already knows you. If it's a game that you're thinking about, I mean, putting it out online, making it free, trying to get people interested in it is the best way I know of. It's either that or spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on promotion.
One more thing, wasn't Mark Twain like an artist name?
Oh yes, his
Yeah,
actual name.
Samuel Clemens.
Like-
yeah, Samuel Clemens.
Like George Remy Hergé?
Well, yeah, George Sands, and yeah, I mean, a lot of authors took noms de plume. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Sure, I hope that helps.
Very much, thank you.
And you, sir, with the black and white hair, yes.
Regarding the most... Is this microphone on?
Regarding the most famous characters of yours, which was the hardest line for you to master? That quote which was the hardest one for you to master for in John's case Sniper and Ellen's case Glados? Which? Yeah.
Well, once you get into doing a character, I mean, every time I'm asked to do Glados, she feels so natural to me now. But in the beginning, I had lots of questions for the writers about, you know, why is she saying this? It was a big surprise to me when Glados starts lying to the player in Portal, because I didn't understand, and Eric Wolpaw, the writer, said, oh, yeah, she's lying. She's lying now. And it's like, oh, well, that's news to me. But difficulties in acting, I remember at the end of Portal 2, in the multiplayer game, when Glados discovers the room with all the human beings waiting as test subjects, to have the amount of elation that she needed and still be Glados, that was difficult to do because you couldn't go too far. You know, you couldn't have human emotion, but you still wanted to have a differentiation that, oh, Glados is really happy now.
And as far as the sniper goes, I mean, it's hard to place the adjective difficult, because I mean, doing the sniper with Eric Wolpaw and Jay Pinkerton and Mark Laidlaw in the room is more like goofing off with a bunch of your drunk friends than working. You know, I mean, I guess the hardest part about it was really nailing down the Australian accent. But working with them, they liked where I took the sniper, and so they started writing lines that took the sniper right where I was taking the sniper. And it becomes more of a team effort than anything else. So I can't say that I ran into anything that I had trouble with. It was just fun. You just making stuff up and throwing it out there. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah.
We have a sniper down here, yes. He's
Okay.
shaking his hand now.
Yes, sniper. Yeah, they're running up here. They being the person and the microphone.
Hello. One question for both of you. Ellen, how was your thoughts when you were... what went through your mind through Glados when you were when Glados is such a horrible person to our main character? What went through your mind when that happened?
Well, but it was really about what Glados wanted to do. Glados wanted to test. And if the test subject wasn't behaving correctly, Glados was trying to encourage the test subject to do what she wanted. So she never particularly felt like she was being mean. She felt she was being encouraging.
By insulting them, you know, I mean, that's just how she did that. Let's see, yes, you with something in your hand, yes,
Oh, that's potatoes.
Potatoes, yes.
Yes.
I'm old, deaf, and blind.
So you have potatoes. Oh, and you're in a very comfortable cosplay. And what is your name?
Sarah.
Sarah. Okay.
So this is a question for you, Ellen.
Okay.
Regarding Portal. And we were wondering if you knew about the romantic pairing between Shell and Glados, and if you do, what's your thoughts?
Well, no, I hadn't hadn't heard that. I mean, I know that there's a lot of theorizing about the different characters. Of course, I've heard the theory that Cave Johnson and Carolyn are actually Chell's parents. And all of this stuff is wonderfully imaginative, and I enjoy all of it when I hear it. But it has nothing to do with what the writers wrote. But it's like, yeah, why not? Why not? Because you know, all the characters they have a life of their own now. Chell has a life of her own. Glados, Cave Johnson, Wheatley. They've all, you know, they've all gone on, and I think the writers too, as am I, are very interested in what people imagine about the characters. So yeah, totally cool.
Awesome, thank you.
How about the blonde wig? Then the black coat? Yeah. I just like seeing the person with the microphone just climb through a line.
And what is your name?
Mila.
Mila, yeah, we met you yesterday, yeah.
I was wearing a different sort of wig yesterday.
I know, it's like people change the cosplay and it's like, who the hell are you?
Yes, anyways, my question is, do you have idols of your own, as in voice actors that you look up to? Or actors, if you will, but voice actors?
Well, I mean, as a woman of a certain age, I have to admire Judi Dench and Helen Mirren, and there's a lot of work that I admire. You know, I Benedict Cumberbatch, my gosh, what a wonderful actor, and John and I have both enjoyed Sherlock. But you know, Martin Freeman, I love Martin Freeman. So there's a lot, you know, and I certainly enjoy Eddie Redmayne's work, and there's so many actors who I appreciate. J.K. Simmons. On the plane over here, I watched the movie Whiplash about the music teacher with his student. And I said to John in the middle of the movie, I said, this man needs to be fired. But it's because J.K. Simmons was so wonderful in the role. So, lots of people.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, my hero as a voice actor, somebody that I admired even as a little kid, was a guy named Mel Blanc. And I don't know if you guys know the old Warner Brothers cartoons, Bugs Bunny, all that kind of stuff. I mean, he did all those voices, and I always admired him. But as far as actors nowadays, yeah, I mean, there's so many great actors that the list is too long to mention here. And certainly everybody that you mentioned, Anthony Hopkins, it just goes on and on. There's so many great people out there.
Derek Jacobi.
And I'm blocking the two great Swedish actors that I love so much. Guy who played me.
Oh, Max von Sydow.
Max von Sydow, one of my favorites of all time. And, Skjars. Yes, great actor. And there's some great younger actors coming out of Scandinavia too. It's a great film. I just saw a wonderful Danish film called Headhunters. Have you guys seen that? Yeah. And in Headhunters, I realized the guy who plays Jamie, what's his name in Game of Thrones, is Danish, right? As I always thought he was like American or English or something. Okay, he had a weird British accent. He has a weird British accent. It's because he's from Denmark. But lots of great actors around now. So that's kind of vague, but I hope that helps. Okay, grade section up front. Yeah.
This is actually the last question.
Oh, okay. Last question.
I just got a harsh word from those things.
All right.
Hi.
Hi. Go ahead, your name?
Gustav.
Gustav, yes, we met you yesterday too.
So I have a question, and this goes to both of you. When it comes to creating characters or working with characters, what do you think is essential in making a character interesting? Being it a good character or a bad character?
Well, you have to know what the character wants. You have to know what the character wants, and you have to completely commit. You have to believe. You are the character, and this is what you want. And as John says, you know, raise the stakes. What the character wants is very important.
And I think you can come up with adjectives. I mean, I think that, you know, the sniper is professional, egocentric. He is very gregarious, but doesn't like people. He's very intelligent and a loner, but you know he's a ladies' man, but is horrible at relationships. So you can come up with a backstory, and I think that is fun work. I mean, even for Glados,
yes.
Come up with
Glados actually, the way I think about her, she's very lonely. Glados is very lonely. I always felt that when I was doing the character.
Yeah, so I think that's the best thing you can do is to make the character complex. And even in something like Team Fortress 2, where you're just going around playing capture the flag, basically, the more complex you make each of those characters, the more identifiable they are, and the more human they become to the person who's speaking them. Well, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Okay, grading sweatshirt up front. Yeah.
This is actually the last question.